in the original plan. Builder may condition its approval of any such change order request upon an increase in the purchase price to compensate builder for the change, and if required by builder, buyers pay to builder a non-refundable additional deposit specified by the builder on the change order. No verbal change orders requests made by the buyer, nor any written change order requested by the buyer issued by the builder, nor but not signed by buyer and returned to builder within 48 hours shall be binding upon the builder unless builder actually affects the change, in which case the verbal or unsigned change order shall be binding on both parties, and the purchase price shall be automatically increased by the agreed upon amount, if any. If there was no agreed upon amount, an amount equal to blank, 110% if left blank, of builder's additional, if any, out-of-pocket cost to effect such change. If the change order reduces the out-of-pocket cost of the builder, the purchase price shall be automatically decreased by the amount equal to the reduced out-of-pocket cost. For each change order request, including any changes in selections of electric material and decorations. So, one of the big differences here so far is that they have a percentage that you can put in, as opposed to the other one just says what the change order will be, and they'll give you an amount. If you don't have the change order done and you do it verbally, and the builder actually does it, then it's agreed, and they're going to have to pay either whatever, if left blank, 110% of what it cost.
What is
Do you get
typical?
that?
Would be terrible if you overlooked it.
What's typical what?
Do you usually leave it blank? Do you have
Who you working for?
Who you working
Yeah,
for?
who you working for?
So who you working for?
You're
That
working
answers the
for
question.
Jim Engel. That's probably like 80% for change orders. You're working for a smaller guy, kind of a down home, guy that may be like 0%. I've seen some builders will just give anything above and beyond purchase price. Will just pass the cost on through. Most builders don't, but I've seen a couple that do. So depends on who your builder is.
Okay, now we're still reading this paragraph. Remember the KCR one was real small?
Okay.
And you notice how this one's real long? It's got like more words in it. And yeah, that says things that is in the best interest of the builder. Okay? So again, I point all this out. It's simple. It's just, you got to read it.
It's kind of like when you see geese fly in a V,
Yeah.
and one line's always longer than the other line. Why is that? Well, because the one that's got the longer line has more birds in it.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification.
They were equal.
Submitted by the buyer more than blank, 45 days if left blank after the effective date, there should be an administrative fee of blank, check a box, a flat fee or zero amount per hour, zero if left blank, payable to the builder for builder time spent in connection with the pricing, drawing, etc., the change orders request, which shall be payable even if the buyer decides not to make the change. See, there is a difference between these contracts, and if you have your clients sign them without reading them, you're not doing a very good job of representing.
That's right.
Okay?
Now, why would something like this, especially where it says, even if buyers decide not to make the change, why do you think that's in there?
Because there may have been a time which a buyer made all these requests upon a builder, and he made all these changes, and they didn't do anything, and he had no way of charging them back for all the time he wasted trying to help them.
That's exactly right.
Hey.
Mr. Builder spends a ton of hours trying to help a buyer. He's trying to help his client, his customer, make selections and give them pricing options for different things. But this allows him to kind of say, okay, time out. You're not going to be paying me for any time that I spend working on these different pricing things. You wanted me to price a bowling alley in your basement. I did that. You wanted me to price a sunken hot tub in your basement, that I could swim indoor and outdoor through. I priced that. And now at the end of the day, I've spent all of these hours, all of this energy, all this effort, and you're going, nah, I don't want it. Huh. Okay, great. So, time out. I'm now charging you for my time.
Right.
So that's why that's in there.
Is there a typical number that they use, dollar amount, whatever?
Talk to your builder.
The key is that you read it and you explain it to your buyers, so the buyer knows that they can't go request, these, how much would this cost? How much would this cost? They'll do it. The builder will gladly do it for you, but they're going to charge you for it. Okay?
If it gets out of hand.
If it gets out of hand.
Starts
Most of them won't,
Most of them
as long as it's the simple stuff.
Yeah.
But you get more complicated, and they have to do a lot more research, and they got, they're gonna gig you. They're gonna get you.
If you get Bubba Taylor, he does.
Bubba Taylor, he'll be nice about it. Well, yeah, he's a good guy right there. Okay, so then we go into payable to builder for the builder's time spent in connection with the pricing, drawing, etc. to change order request, which fee shall be payable even if the builder's buyer decides not to make the change. Buyer agrees not to give any change orders directly to any subcontractor for suppliers of builders without builder's prior written consent. State allowance amounts supersede any stated specifications of drawings. If buyer selects an allowance item in excess of the applicable allowance amount, buyer shall, if requested by builder or the supplier, pay the excess amount to the builder or directly to the supplier as a non-refundable additional deposit. Builder at its option may require that any net increase to the purchase price result from change orders, allowance, overages, and other matters be paid by the builder to builder and added to the deposit at any time prior to closing, and may wait for payment to be made to the builder at the closing, or when later presented to buyer by builder, to the extent not to include in the purchase price calculation as of the closing. Net change order amount shall constitute an increase or decrease in the purchase price as the case may be. Closing does not alleviate either party's obligation to reconcile charges or credits of any allowances, change orders, or other items.
Stop right there. What does that state? What does that last sentence say? What does that mean? Closing does not alleviate either party's obligation to reconcile charges or credits on any allowance, change order, or other item. What does that mean?
So if he hasn't completed them or done them, then we still owe him outside of closing regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. Say,
reconcile
Mr.
whatever
Builder,
it
and it's very, very, very common, Tori can attest to this, that builders still get bills after the home is closed, right? They're still getting their landscaping bill, they're still getting their sod bill. What happens when they get the bill and it's over the allowance? Is the builder just supposed to eat that?
They charge them the variance.
That's right. That statement right there allows Mr. Builder to go back and say, ha, Mr. Buyer, you went way over on your sod allowance. You went way over on your sprinkler system allowance or your landscaping allowance. Now, a good builder with a good subcontractor will probably have that figured out ahead of time, but in case it slips through, that statement, you got to make sure your buyers are aware of that, because some buyers have tried desperately to get away with that one.
And it's not something they can add to their contract. They have to pay that independently,
because it's already
right? Because it's
closed.
already done.
Absolutely.
They
Don't
can't.
we have to sign a separate contract stating that they'll pay?
No, because it's right there.
It's right
But
there.
in this one, but in the KCRA.
I don't know if that's actually in the KCRR form.
No, I didn't see it in the KCRR form.
Yeah.
The KCRR form, again, it doesn't have all these other exceptions
slanted
and
to the
buyer. And
buyer.
it's all slanted to the buyer.
Yeah.
Here, it's just the opposite. It's
It's
slanted
just-
to the builder.
It's just like, are you watching CNN or are you watching Fox? You know what I mean? Are we slanted left or are we slanted right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we go on to, in the event builder shall inadvertently or through error admit any work to be done by change order, builder's liability to buyer for such omissions shall be limited solely to credits for the extra charge, if any, made by the builder in connection with such change order items. Okay? So, see the big difference there between these two contracts on just this one little item? You know, it took, I think it was probably maybe 50 words in the KCRAR, and this one, you know, you're way over 100, way over 200 and some words.
This, excuse me, Tori, this is what lines in the KCRAR are we on?
You're on,
229, paragraph 19.
paragraph 19, change orders. Yeah.
Okay.